Hey guys, I'm Kelly and my co-host here is Amber and welcome to the Brown Girls Guide podcast where we discuss everything we wish we knew growing up.
Yes, hi guys, and welcome to this episode. And before we jump in, I just want to say I'm sorry for my voice. I got my second Pfizer jab this week, so I'm feeling a little fluish. But I don't feel that sick. I just sound way worse than I actually feel.
Well, whoop whoop
Kelly,
for fully
how?
vaccinated though.
Yeah, at least I'm fully vaccinated, and so are you.
Yeah.
So yay us. And how did you feel? Do you have any symptoms afterwards? You sound like a
Nah,
teenager, like I do.
no, not at all. I just had a very sore arm for a while and that was
Mm.
it. That was it. I didn't
Oh, that's great.
yeah. So I've heard of people like feeling like full on flu. So I'm sorry that you're going through this, but I'm
I
glad that you're
think
fully
it's just,
vaccinated.
yeah, luckily I don't have any of the like body aches and like feeling super like lethargic. It's just this throat thing and a bit of congestion. But other than that, I'm totally fine. And I think it's worth it.
Well, let me not drag out your voice for too long. I was gonna say let's jump straight into it. Let me ask how you are doing, but I feel like I know how you're doing. Other than your voice and second jab, how are you? How's life? What are you drinking this morning at 8:15?
At 8:15 this morning, I'm having a coffee. It's
Mm.
not a real coffee, Kelly. It's actually proper coffee.
What do you
And I
mean it's
feel,
not a re coffee? I'm so proud of you.
I know. The only reason I'm not having tea coffee is because my roommate bought the coffee this time and she buys like Nescafe because she likes proper coffee. Well, it's still like filter coffee. And not filter coffee, instant
Oh
coffee.
yeah, no,
But
no, I
it's a
forgot.
step up. I won't lie, I do miss my tea coffee. But next time I'll definitely buy it then. But I'm good. I've been really busy at work. But like an exciting busy, like there's some cool things we're working on. So that's great. It's just that I am still recovering from one of my best friend's weddings. And guys, Kelly, I don't know how you did a wedding when you were the bride. Like it's so tiring. How did you even it is so tiring, but it was a great wedding. And I think this weekend I'm just gonna spend like recovering from everything.
From everything. Yeah, I
How are
am.
you?
I'm good. It was my birthday week, which was great. Um,
Yes.
it, admittedly, it felt like it was all over very quickly. Like I celebrated on the day, which was great, but then life had to resume because we had other things that needed our attention. So after the day of my birthday, like normal life just resumed. Um, but apparently, I have another gift arriving tomorrow, which is exciting. And I have some birthday
Ooh.
wine that I want to tuck into this weekend. So celebrations will continue this weekend. Um, I just had to put it on pause to do, like adult stuff, life stuff, to be an adult.
I hate when adult stuff gets in the way of like enjoying your life.
Exactly, exactly. But speaking of adult stuff, today's topic is relationships and just our expectations of them when we were kids, just like what we
Mhm.
thought it would be like, the reality of what it actually is like, and just like things we didn't realize had to be part of your relationship, but they are, or things we didn't realize we would have to do, or yeah, you get my drift.
Yes.
So that is today's topic. So Amber, I'm gonna just ask you a question just to kick us off. When
Okay.
you were younger, what did you think relationships would be like? And this is romantic
Uh,
relationship. This is romantic relationship.
so when I was younger, I thought relationships would romantic comedies look like at the time when we were growing up.
Yeah.
I'm talking like something borrowed slash bride wars slash like friends with benefits. Like it would be this whimsical thing, like where you meet by chance and then you just fall in love. A minor thing happens, you break up and you get back together. Like there was always like a very simple formula to how the relationship would work. So I always thought like if I wanted to be in a relationship, like I would just meet someone and then we would just happen to fall in love and things would happen to like just be fixed easily when they went wrong. Like I wasn't expecting for things to go wrong so often.
Yeah.
But I don't
Yeah.
mean it in a bad way. I
I
just
know
mean
what you mean. I know what you mean.
in the movies, it looks like you just have this one big relationship in your life that defines like what love is to you. And in reality, you might have a few of those, and things go right often and they go wrong often. It's not just like this one big life event that happens. Do you know what I mean?
I do. And I agree. Like I think we all like modeled our ideas of relationships on romantic comedies at the time. So there were those the Freddie Prinze Jr. romantic comedies of the time.
Yes. Yeah.
So we would like watch those and be like, oh, love is gonna be all sunshine and roses, and they're gonna sweep you off your feet. And while it definitely is that in the beginning for a lot of people, it what those movies like fail to capture is the work that actually goes into a relationship. I think that's actually what of God is the work that you have to do when you're in a relationship. It's like it's constant work. You can't just now, okay, we're in a relationship, so now we gotta stop, or we can stop like flirting, or we can stop like trying to impress each other or whatever it may be.
I think it captures a lot of like the dramatic moments. Like it doesn't show the day-to-day like consistent work that you put into a relationship, which I guess they would do, because I mean it's not very exciting to show small things you do for each other, like cleaning the toilet or something. Like that's not what they would include. But it just shows the high points or the low points.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I also I just asked myself this question. I love it. I just jumped away. But I didn't realize how little I would care about relationships. Like it is part of your life, obviously. But I didn't think I'd be putting this little effort into it. I thought I would be trying harder than I actually am.
But I think it's also because as a kid, you made to believe that is like the life plan. Like you grow up, you go to school, you do all those things, you meet someone, you fall in love, and then you get married and you have kids, and like that is like the life plan. You don't realize that there are other things instead of being in a relationship that you can actually do with your time. And you don't realize that I don't know how to put this, but like a relationship isn't the be all and end all for many people. Many people are perfectly happy alone. And there is so much that society does to make young kids believe that there's only one path in life, when there's actually not. You don't have to get into a relationship. And it's like you said, like you don't, and isn't it that you don't care about it, but it's not a priority for you at this point.
Yeah, like, and if it is a priority, it's just one of many other priorities. Like I prioritize it as much as I do like something like socializing, it's not like I'm going to put off hanging out with my friends because I'm pursuing dating like one specific person. Like that is one thing I really did not expect to do. And I think it's because just as a teenager growing up, you don't really realize that 90% of your life is actually work. So like spending time working. So the little free time you do have, you have to like carve out like small little time slots for everything else that you enjoy. And like we said, relationships take a lot of work. So you have to really want it at that time to put in the required work that's needed. And like for me, like right now, like, I mean, I'll do it, but it's not at the top of my priority list. So not a lot of time is allocated to it.
Yeah. And I think you make a good point with like, when you get into a relationship, you don't realize how it's not that you have to sacrifice your friendships, obviously not. But
obviously not, yeah.
You have to, there'll be less time that you spend with your closest friends because you're in a relationship, and even with your family. And it's not because you don't want to spend time with your friends, but it's because you want to spend time with one another. And and often it isn't that there's no room for someone else, but you want like quality time, like alone time. You want to go on like a date with the person that you are romantically into. And you want to, I don't know why I put it in such a formal way, and you want to go away for the weekend. And yes, you also want to see your friends, but yeah, like it is difficult to carve out time. And I think also, this is now like switching lanes a bit. I think one of the, and this is an important one for us, especially, I suppose not as much for kids today, but I think an important thing for us is just we thought that relationships were for girls and boys, like a girl and a boy
Yeah.
together. We didn't realize that there were other options. It can be a girl and a girl and a boy and a boy, and a girl and a someone who identifies as them or they. And today it's just so different. I think it's always been different, but today it's just so more open and people
Yeah.
actually speak about it more openly. But as a kid, you just think like, no, like as a young girl, I thought, like, no, I'm gonna meet a boy and then we'll fall in love and we'll get married.
Mm, absolutely. And I think one of the great things, like one of the positive things I realized about relationships growing, like being an adult, is that it doesn't have to be this one thing that you just described. Like you can have a relationship that suits your capacity at the time. So if you only can manage like a casual relationship, you can find someone and that can be successful, an open relationship, or, it doesn't have to just be this one way of doing it. Whatever works for you and the person you're seeing is what you can do. You don't have to, fit by like the rom-com thing of like
Yeah.
a boy and a girl or two partners that are dedicated to each other and spend all the time together. It doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah. And I think I also
You
just
know?
thought it would be easier. I thought relationships would be easier. I think it's, I mean, it's obviously because of movies, but also when I was growing up, and this is obviously before my parents got divorced, you don't see the hard work like, behind the scenes that goes into a relationship. And
Mm,
the movies obviously also don't show you. You grow up believing that it would be easier, um, and that life would just click into place, and you don't realize also that the heartbreak within a relationship, like you can be in a relationship and still experience heartbreak from the person that you love, and no one ever like growing up, no one tells you about that. No one says it's going to be like the worst heartbreak you'll ever experience in your life. um
yeah.
and that,
And
okay.
it doesn't look as cute as like a movie heartbreak. I'm shitting on movies. I'm sorry, guys, but like the media
Yeah.
you consume, it doesn't look like 2 nights of you eating ice cream and crying. The reality is you have to go to work the next day. Okay, you have to
Exactly.
go sit in the office and hold back tears through your client meetings for like a week or so. Like it sucks, but you don't have your Bridget Jones moment. You actually have to go to work and live your life.
Exactly. And no one tells you that. Like, you have to wake up the next morning and like
It's
pretend
so
that you're
hard.
fine and just put on makeup to make your eyes not look as puffy. And it
I'm
sucks.
laughing
And
because I'm triggered.
you know, you think, I'm so sorry.
It's
So
fine.
funny. But yeah, like you have to just pick yourself up and you have to just move on, or not move on, move forward. You have to move forward, or at least
You
get
have
through the
to.
day or a few days.
And
So
oftentimes, your friends can only help you like through the phone because they also have busy lives. So no
yeah,
one's rushing over with magazines and wine to like hug you. You just got to keep it pushing.
exactly. And no one also tells you that. Like, you think that you're gonna live with your besties for the rest of your life, and they're gonna feed you ice cream and wine, and you'll get over it soon, and then you'll go to like the nearest bar and you'll meet the next guy or girl or whatever. But it's not like that at all. You spend
It's
months
not.
and years actually nurturing the heartbreak. And also, no one tells you how much emotional trauma heartbreak
Yes.
actually causes
Yeah.
you. And not just emotional, like mental trauma, and how it actually affects your relationships further on. You don't know that your first heartbreak or your second or whatever it may be, how it actually plays out in your future relationships. You think
Yeah,
that's something
absolutely.
no one prepares you for.
Because if you don't properly like heal from your last situation, you're going to carry that into your next relationship and you might end up projecting onto your new partner, um, you know, because of the old, trauma you have that you haven't processed yet. And it's very hard to like actually sit and feel your feelings and just move past it and try not to take it with you. Because
Yeah.
I mean, it's natural to want to, have a wall up because you don't want it to happen to you again. But I think that's just one of the sacrifices you make when you want to be in a relationship again. You have to take that chance, I guess.
Yeah. And I think I can tell you about what I didn't expect marriage to be like, or not marriage, like a committed partnership that is going to like last forever. I didn't expect, or not that I didn't expect, you don't realize how much consideration you need to have like, for someone else. How
Yeah.
every action you take can affect the person that you're with. Well, not every action, obviously. I mean, if I eat a piece of pasta, that's obviously not going to affect anyone. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like you can't just make your own plans. I mean, you can make plans, but you have to look at like for us as an example, or for me and Calvin. Like if we make plans, we literally have to look at a calendar. We have to look at my Google Calendar because I put everything in there. And if he
Yeah.
wants to do like a thing with his friends or his brother or whatever, or like I want to do a thing with my sister or my friends, I literally have to look at our calendar because that is how, not just how busy our life is, but it's just how we have to plan, and we have to just always like consider that it's not just you, it's, and especially for us in our situation, because it's us and the boys, so we have to
Yeah.
obviously consider that. And I wasn't quite prepared for that, and I was very selfish by nature, just because I mean, I was on my own. And so to have to now look at how my choices affect everyone else around me was quite the adjustment.
Mm. Absolutely. And like things aren't as whimsical as just like, oh, the two of us want to just escape for a weekend. Let's just go here. There's so many other factors you have to consider.
Yeah.
Like real life really gets, not in the way, but I mean, you have to really compromise much more than you thought you would.
Yep.
Which I mean is worth it in the end. It's just something you're not really prepared for. No one really shares that with you.
No one does. And it's like you said, like it's worth it in the end. You just wish you knew about it before.
You just wish you Yeah, exactly. What are some of, I kind of touched on this earlier, but I want to know from you specifically, like being married or like you said, like a committed partnership. What are some of the like really like delightful, like surprise, like things you didn't expect to be positives or like perks of like having a life partner? Like it can be like something small.
Um so one, aside from the emotional support, obviously, which I will touch on now, but this is like something you don't realize when you are single, or like maybe you do, but the shared finances is great. It is
I
really
can
great.
imagine.
It is really great. There's less stress. So that's like on that level. But a really great thing is like, like if I have like a really stressful day at work, as an example, or just life is like getting me down, or I'm feeling really bleak, I didn't realize how much I'd enjoy just not unpacking. I think moaning is a good word, or just like
Yeah. Venting.
venting. Thank you. How much I'd enjoy
Yeah.
or how much relief it would bring me to be able to vent to someone who isn't going to judge me, or isn't going to say like anything negative. Like even if I did something wrong in the day, as an example, even if I fucked up at work or whatever, um, it's just really nice having someone who knows you at your core and is there to just always support you. Like,
Yeah.
like if I've had a long day, I won't even have to tell Calvin that I've had a long day. I'll just be like, hey, would you like a glass of wine or supper? And he's like, yes, let's do it. Let's do it. Um, so that's been really fantastic. And while that actually took a lot of getting used to, because I'm so used to like dealing with things internally. So it took a long time for me to actually get used to having someone there to share the burden of just
Mm.
life in general. And now that I am used to it, and I know that he's just always there for me, it's actually really great. That is,
That is so cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think out of all the things that relationships like bring, it's that support. Oh, and also it's really nice having someone there to like witness your success and even your failures. And I know it sounds corny, but like if I get like a promotion at work or whatever, it's so nice having a cheerleader in your corner constantly, who's like always proud of you and happy for you. And that's been a lot of fun because he will randomly
Yeah.
tell me, and like it could literally be nothing. I could have just like sent my status report on a Friday, and I'll be like, oh, like what a long day. And he'll be like, I'm so proud of you. You've done so well for yourself. And I'm like, thanks, babe.
Yeah, no, that is nice. That is nice. I hear you.
What do you?
And
I'm gonna ask you a question now. Well, for anyone who like doesn't know this, Amber's single and I'm not. So we're on opposite sides of the scale. I don't know, whatever the line. What do you miss about being in a relationship?
very little. I think what no, I don't mean that.
No, I get it.
Very little. Because I've found situations that work for me outside of a traditional relationship. But one thing I do miss is just like one of my major love languages is acts of service. So I miss having someone to like do stuff for you when you just couldn't be bothered. Or like you said earlier, you don't have to explain something, like your partner will just pick up on something. So when I feel overwhelmed, like I would just let go of like stuff around the house, or like I won't wash my car. And at one point I dated someone who would pick up on that and he would just like take the car and have it washed, or he would just like start cleaning or send lunch because like he just knows I don't want to do it. So like those small things, that is what I miss, but nothing else. But I do miss like having someone there to pick up when you need like support, even when you don't like verbalize it yourself, because you can't always, not really lie, but you can't always expect the friends in your life to constantly be in tune with like your small mentions of being tired, overwhelmed. Like everyone is busy, but your partner will obviously take extra time to like be in tune with what you need.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing I would say that I do miss.
But everything else, not so much. I think for anyone who is single, just getting into a relationship is always going to be tricky because, like we said, it takes a lot of like sacrifice, and you sort of do have to. You have to obviously give up who you are. If you do, then that's a red flag. But you have to. You have to compromise on certain things, not your morals and values, because if you're compromising that, another red flag. But
that's the problem. We need like what you do on a Saturday, you might have to change up a little bit.
Or like maybe like they like tomato sauce more than mustard, so you shop for that more. I don't know. So like something along those lines. Obviously not like your beliefs or anything, because please don't compromise on that. Unless you're a racist, then I would consider. But I think because of all of that, when you're single, like getting into relationship it can be tricky, which is not something people also tell you. Like you just don't realize that initial phase, as beautiful as it may be, is also like the period where things are, I won't say like most sensitive, but where you have to make the most adjustments and the most changes, because there's a whole other person in your life, like in your life now. So you gotta take that into consideration.
For sure.
So Amber Lambs, just to end things off, is there any advice you'd like to leave someone with when it comes to relationships, and just how to, I want to say, how to like best prepare yourself for a relationship down the line?
I would say don't compromise on who you are as a person, like we just said. Don't change who you are fundamentally for someone else, because you how can I say, like if you what is here for in English?
What is what?
If you put forward here for it's put forward. If you put forward a version of yourself to someone, they're gonna hold you to that expectation. So make sure that you are yourself up front.
Yeah.
And if you have sort of non-negotiables about your life, like there are certain things that are very important to you in your day-to-day, like fitness is really important, or your work is really important. If you are going to let that slide in the beginning because you want to impress someone else, you're going to slowly lose bits of who you are. And always just trust your gut. You will always know. You will just always know if something isn't right or something doesn't sit well with you. You will know. Some of us are in denial more than others. Like, I know I have this issue that I need to work on. I'll be in denial for a little bit. Eventually it's gonna rock the boat. Just nip it in the bud. If you know something's not gonna work out, your gut will always tell you. But I think more than anything else, just present a true version of yourself in the beginning, to protect yourself and the other person. Because if you are going to be a version of yourself that you think someone else wants, that's not fair on either party.
Yeah.
And I think that's the basis for, getting to really know someone. What advice do you have, Kelly? You are the one that's actually married. What advice would you give?
My advice, like my insight is like, even when you are married, you still have no idea what you are doing. You don't suddenly have all the answers when you are in a relationship. But I have to just agree with what you said. Do not compromise on who you are, especially at the beginning. I mean, at any point, but just be your true self, like, from the start, because at least then you and the other person know actually what they're getting into. But also, if something doesn't feel right, if a relationship doesn't feel right, you can actually get out of it. It's not a permanent fixture in your life. You don't have to be in a relationship that is actually really bad for you. And if you feel like it's not right for you, then you should get out. Even if you are married and you have kids or anything, it's just, and I know it's easier said than done. I realize it is easier said than done. But I think that is something we also didn't realize growing up, because like divorce is was such a taboo topic, or whatever it was, like it was so frowned upon. But I think people need to know that if you aren't in a relationship that serves you and is good for you, especially, then you should get out. You don't say you are not a tree. As you can move.
You are not a mountain, you can be moved.
Yes, you can be moved. You can move on and you can move forward. And as difficult as it might be, you have to do what is best for you. So
absolutely.
So that is my last advice.
I love that. That is amazing advice.
Yeah.
And I think that's the perfect way to wrap up, actually.
I think so too. Well, that's it from us this week, guys. And thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you know where to find us on social media and on email. But just in case you don't, I will remind you that you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Brown Girls Guide Pod, and on Twitter at BGG Pod. And if you want to get in touch, you can mail us on info@browngirlsguide.co.za. And until next week, bye.
Bye.